Alright, we had to pull over on the side of the road yesterday because we weren't pulling and our transmission was getting hot, but we were still slowing down. Same problem as before, we're having the front bearings on the truck getting hot or the brake buddy's engaging. And I also found out yesterday that my e-brakes were on the truck. And being that we found that, I was like, well, I'm gonna go to O'Reilly's, see if they'll let me work on the parking lot, and if they do, I will do all this in their parking lot. So that's where I'm at right now. Always check before you do it. Always check before you buy parts. This is my results of my old brake drums. As you can see, they have they're bad. They got overheated because the e-brake was on, and we just towed it with the ambulance, which is not good, but because it's such a big and powerful diesel, it just pulled it. And as you can see, they're all pretty much toast. So last night I was here. Oh God, it's covered. Last night I tried to get it done. I did get it done. However, I did find out that my hardware was all bad, and I need to put some new hardware on it. So I bought some hardware this morning. So we're going to redo the brake job on the rear end, both of them, and we also had to adjust it. It was we could have got down the road if we had to, but we ain't getting that far. Maybe the next town, but we gotta get this fixed. And I gotta pull the front and check those, make sure that they have grease in the bearings. If they have grease in the bearings, it means we're just gonna have to delete the brake buddy, and it's just bad in general. The other thing I noticed is when I rebuilt the bearings on that, it's a wet axle. So whenever I rebuilt it, there was grease in the bearings on this one, and I pulled the grease out of it, and I didn't put grease back in it. And I read later, I know I should have read the instructions first. I read later they need grease on startup, so I gotta pull this off and put grease in the back of the rear end of the ambulance, and then we're gonna pop the hood and see if we can find that bearing that's going out, and see if we can get that fixed, and see what else. That's all for here that we have to do. We have to get it done before we can go down the road farther. So I'm gonna get this thing jacked up, and I will bring you in when we do the brake thing. My horse towel that I keep around because it's a good towel. It's good for working. It's abusive towel. I burnt a hole in it yesterday. But, get this down there. I need to wash it again. I bought myself a impact the other day, and I am so glad I did. It's so much nicer. We're not going to use you. Set the grease out there. Yes, I did. Pretty much the only tools, this and a screwdriver, is all you really need to do this work. Brakes are easy on the flat, on a drum brake system, if you have the right tools. If not, they're a pain in the butt. I also need you. There's that. I'm going to be easy to my tools. Okay, what else do I need? Oh yeah. Oh, and they've been so nice about me letting me work here. I woke up with such a horrible headache this morning that I was like, okay, I need to do a quick test. I'm sanitizing my thing with the air purifier right now. And so let's get this up in the air. Let me go make sure everything's in place here. Always get you a good pair of chucks when you travel around. They are awesome. Good news is we got the bumper's doing way better. I've been watching it for this whole time. It's just, yeah, it was the design of the bumper. Well, not the design of the bumper. I'll show you later what exactly it was. I got it in gear. Out of park. We can't have that on and work on the brakes till we're in gear. And I also got that as a gift to myself, so I can get rid of this thing. Anyhow, I have this nice spot to myself. I would have liked to stay there another night and did the stargazing thing. We still have a flat on this tire that we need to get fixed too. I gotta have the energy to do all this, and this is the one thing I have energy to do right now. So, and they're letting me do it in their parking lot, which is awesome. I gotta get high enough to get that underneath it. There, here's the sketchy part. Always is the sketchy part. That's the sketchy part. There we go. Alright, I'll bring it back in whenever I get this thing up in the air and the brakes off. Alright, there's the new stuff laid out. New hardware. There's the old hardware. New brakes are on there. We didn't get a chance to adjust it because the adjuster, I forgot to put lube on it anyhow, so I figured I might as well go ahead and replace all this too. I'm going to start on the teardown on this, and we are going to get this done fast, hopefully this time. We got pretty efficient at it last night. And I'm hoping that we don't have rain coming. And there's some sort of weird bug near us, or a person, I don't know which. Alright, you have that. That's for the adjustment. Alright, reminder of how to use these tools. You stick this spot on there, you bend it down, and you get a little, one of these sides will allow you to do it. There's one-handed too. Same thing with this one. You get underneath there with it, get that underneath the sharp part. There it goes. And there's two. And we just start pulling off stuff. Missing something. I need that. There's not another one in here. This one, this goes there. That goes with that. That's the hard part when you pull it off. Usually, let's see. Okay. Usually, you go ahead and pull these things off, and same thing. Push and turn until you pop off. This gets it off. It's off. These are off. Alright, pull this off. That releases the brakes. Pull it off. Everything just comes off as could be. Going back together is a little bit more complicated, but not horrible. There's that. bad I lost my keys for a second. I had to look around a lot of places for them. Turned out they fell underneath the tire whenever I put that on. Anyhow, let's get back together. Got a lot done right before the storm came here. Ooh, lightning. Yep, that's it. We're calling it. I'd like to get the other one on there, but I ain't going to play with lightning. Yeah, we're calling it. We're calling it. We'll mess with it again here in a little while. Not right now. Well, so much for that. Let's try and beat the storm. We got the truck done for the most part. I got new wheel seals, inner wheel seals bearings ordered, and I think if we get those replaced, we can stop it from throwing the grease out. Look at that brown. It's like an Oklahoma store. Thunderstorm. Oh, look at the dirt hoodoo getting pushed up. Yeah, we're fixing to get nasty. I wonder if I should pull the truck closer to the van to be honest. Ooh, there's some more lightning. Probably not gonna matter if it starts hailing either way. Hoodoo though. I'll use the tarp on it. I got one jack underneath there, but I can't do anything if it's going to storm. There's the wind. You might luck out though. I bet you are going to get hit though, regardless. Torque. I've not checked the fluids on that. So I gotta crawl underneath there and check all the fluids on the things that doesn't have a dipstick. And look, we're missing a bolt there. Transmission, transfer case, and differentials fluid needs to be checked. Ooh, that's some nice lightning. Yeah. Anyhow, I got boards cut so we can put it underneath the jack and get a little bit higher on it. We're blocked right now. We got blocks underneath the other tire. I gotta crawl the computer in there and look at our editing. That's a lot of here. Ooh, look at that lightning. You know, it would be incredibly stupid, but incredibly good looking if we crawl up on the ambulance and get up on the watch the lightning come in. I was gonna say, you know, usually I told myself I was gonna beeline it north from our last spot there at the Valley of the Gods because we needed to do some work. And I was toying with between Blanding and Cortez. Blanding was closer by maybe 30 minutes, but the way out of Cortez north was going to be worse, and with everything acting up, I was like, I'll come to Blanding. And then we broke down, you know, here, and we ended up coming to the O'Reilly's, and they said I can stay in the parking lot at least. And then at night, I went ahead and ordered the parts for the wheel seals. They're going to have them here Tuesday. Today is Sunday. And Tisha is going to ship out my motor engine control module, and I asked, and they said I can ship it here to the O'Reilly, so I put my name on it, and she's going to ship it here tomorrow, so Tuesday I'll get the engine control module here, and we'll find out. We'll replace it, and we'll find out really quick if that's our problem or not, because all the problems will go away. When I'm underneath the ambulance earlier putting stuff in, I noticed that speed control module was leaking. I don't know how much, but it's leaking quite a bit, so I probably need an O-ring for that one. And it might have drained enough rear axle lube to de-lube the bearing, so we're going to check the bearings out anyhow. Right now, since that storm hit, I'm giving it time to dry out. I'm probably also going to go in there and see about if they have any outer wheel seals for that truck, which they're O-rings, and I can use gasket sealers, and that works just as well. You know, as far as I can tell, it looks like it's still leaking out of the inner wheel bearing seals, the grease. And what it looks like is it leaks out, and then when it gets hot, turns to liquid, leaks out, and then the wheel bearings get hot. And when the wheel bearings get hot, it like slamming on the brakes, and then the bearing races start to slip, is what it looks like it's been doing this whole time. I will have to end up replacing the center shafts for the bearings eventually, so that'll be fun. I'm gonna avoid it as long as well, not as long as I can. That's what gets me in these situations. I'll avoid it until I get some money to use towards that, so we'll see. And there's dirt. I cut off 2x6s earlier to get the jack up higher whenever I get underneath there, so I can get one of the I'm going to put one of the jack stands underneath the axle if I can get it up high enough. So it'll give me support underneath the axle and support underneath the frame. They're both 6 tons each, so that's 24,000 pounds of support. And just doubling up because the weight scares me, so that's why I do it that way. Oh, looks like it's clearing up already. God, I'm so tired. I stopped and now I feel the tiredness. I might go to the Dollar General next door and get me some ice cream. And some paper towels so I can wash my face off. Alright, that's where we're at. Oh yeah, the storms. Where we're at is right here. Valley of the Gods is right here. Monument Valley is right here. Keaton, where we replace alternators, right here. Where we first started having the screaming noise underneath the belt was about right here. And where we was camping with Jason and Jim's right here. And we came up, went over, came up here, stayed here for about 2 days, decided we need to get down the road before something else happened. Something else happened here. Then we get down to here and got an alternator because that's what the code said. Replaced the alternator here after sitting 2 days waiting for it to come in. Moved over here. And yeah, you know where we're at. From here, we will try to, if we get everything fixed, beeline it to Moab for a day. And then from the next day, we are going to try to do Grand Junction. And if it works from here to here, we might just try to make it up to Rife. There's a waterfall up here I want to see, and it's right here. And if we can get to see that, let's see, that would be, how many days is that? And we're here Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and do that. If we get everything fixed enough, then we get here Thursday. Then Friday, Saturday, somewhere in here. We're going to go up here, and I've decided, looking at the map, to avoid the switchbacks, we're going to come up through this area. Alright, well, this is probably 2 days later from the time I recorded earlier. I just got the work done. I didn't ask if I could record in the parking lot, so yeah, we just got the work done. We have the rear brakes completely replaced with new hardware. 3 times I took it off, maybe 4 times, I can't remember. And we got the front re-greased, the bearings were greased, and they was actually able to find me the right part number for the inner wheel seal, so we got inner wheel seals now on it. I just got done replacing that. I went ahead and replaced the pulley up front that I thought was making the noise. It's not, so I'm going to pull the valve cover off on the engine, and I'm going to see if it's an injector doing blow-by or something weird like that. And if it is, we can fix it here because they got a spare injector in there. So we lucked out on this O'Reilly's. It is raining outside. Food in this town is excellent, at least a couple of them that I have had. I had a burger and shape and some onion rings yesterday. half-pound burger. That was a lot of food. I actually couldn't finish the shake. It's in there waiting for me. Like I said, my engine control module will be here tomorrow, and we'll replace that once that gets in here. And after that's here, and if we find the injector, that's pretty much it. Everything that we can do here, we'll be able to get down the road and we'll find out if we got it fixed. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping we'll have power again. The truck's good to go. We're still working on this thing. This is the brake buddy taken apart. I have since soldered in some leads. We're going to make this work on a microcontroller, and we're going to make it work off the brake system. Basically, the trailer brakes come back there, and that's the only time it's going to actuate that or emergency disconnect. I'm tired of wondering if that's the thing. I don't know if it is. I don't know if it's the other problem. So we're just deleting it and making our own. But the biggest thing is I want an emergency breakaway on the truck if it's behind me, if something happens. And the breakaway tie is actually tied to the ambulance frame, not the bumper. So there is a nice, good bit of safety there. And yeah, all right. Tell you more later. Let me tell you, the number of times I've had this valve cover off over the last 6 months thinking it's something to do with my injectors is 3 or 4 times now. And I keep going back to it, and I don't pull the injectors out. And now that older me that's editing the videos knows, it's like, if you would have just pulled the injectors off, you would have found your problem. Yes, that is the problem. My injectors are high pressure actuated O-rings, and they use a high pressure oil pump on it, and around them they use O-rings around them, and apparently when the O-rings get old they blow out. And it was probably a couple months down the road when I actually finally found that problem. We might go into it later on, but right now my injectors have bad O-rings at the top of them, and whenever it gets to higher RPMs and higher pressures, all that oil pressure blows by and makes them not inject, therefore causing white smokes, the clicking noise, and my lack of power. At the time, I kept starting and running it and revving the engine, thinking that I would see a leak shoot out or oil shoot out from the top of the injectors, and that would tell me that the O-rings were out. But the O-rings were holding pretty good when it was warm and cold at low power settings. It's only in high power settings that it started to leak. And you could see it once you pulled out the injectors. However, at the time, I was not brave enough. I don't know. I let it intimidate me, so I never pulled the injectors out because I was afraid I was going to screw it up worse. At least at this point, I can still get down the road. So I did finally break down and pull them out and find out that, yeah, they are shot. And yeah, they need the O-rings replaced. At this point, I think it's all just the injector O-rings on the top of the high pressure oil line on the spot where the backing plate backs up to it, allowed it to break and blow out through that little hole there whenever they got weak. I don't know if it was designed that way, but whenever I put it back together, I doubled up the backing ring so there was no hole. It might cause me more trouble in the future, I don't know, but right now it's holding very nice. And at the current point, I have only 2 of the injectors, of the 8 injectors, that haven't been replaced, and those will involve either a engine drop off the motor mounts or cutting a hole in the firewall. And I'm probably going to end up cutting a hole in the firewall to do it. But if I would have known then what I know now, it would have been a totally different story, and we would have popped them out right then and there. I just didn't know. We probably would have cut a hole in the firewall too and just had it fixed. But hindsight's 2020. Stay tuned for more videos. I am not going to make you suffer through any of these troubleshooting videos anymore. The smoke that you see coming out is either fog or a little blow by on one of the cylinders. Other than that, it looks pretty good, and from everything I've read on these engines, are really simple, easy rebuild too. That's part of what I was saving for, is just to get a new block and swap it out if I had the chance. But I don't think we'll have to do that once we get that other O-ring. Here it is. 2 weeks ago I ordered this. Actually I ordered this about 2 months ago. It's my new computer, which hopefully will fix all my current error problems I'm currently having. So from Flagship 1. Oops, sorry. And from my sister. I have to do 2 separates. And my other, I should go set it down. My other one, wiring diagram. Oh gosh. Oh, this looks nice. This will help future troubleshooting. So we got a book for the wiring diagram here. And we have this, which is our new computer from Flagship 1. We ordered 2 months ago, but we had it shipped up there because we didn't know where we was going to be, and I'm sorry for the view. Still in its original package. Oh my god, so much stuff down. That's the first thing I did earlier. Oh my gosh, how many boxes is in this thing? First thing I did is unhook the power here just a second ago. Because the power cannot be on anytime you mess with the computer. And I just found out for some reason my Victron is constantly charging it. It shouldn't be charging it, but my Victron is putting 12 volts to my battery. And I'm thinking that if they pulled it whenever at that first shop I was at, it may have just been the lack of power, it may have been the transmission, and they pulled it out and there's still power attached to it. Not saying they did or didn't, but they pulled both positive and negative. They didn't, but that could have been what fried the original computer. All right, there we are. The original unmodified computer. All I need is a couple 10mm screws. We pull that one out, we shove this one in. This is supposed to make my rig run better, like way better. Well, it's actually been reflashed. It looks like they powder coated the case. A security seal so you don't tamper. They got one over the port in the back to make sure that you don't hook a chip to it. So this is original equipment basically. And if you pull that off, you void your warranty. This is what $500 of a computer for a vehicle cost. So we're gonna get this on there, and hopefully this will kill all our other weird errors and memory problems that we keep having, and all the other weird stuff. So that's pretty much the last one. And I got it sounding really nice yesterday. It sounded rough and powerful, and we had a connection issue underneath on that one thing. I have since. Alright, here's what we're going to do. I need 2 of these at least. Open under valve clips. They're already pre-oriented the way I want. I am going to print some of these up to go on my clip. This goes underneath your valve thing to help lift that clip up and keep it from pulling apart. So that might do it. I'm going to probably load up a bunch more on here because I need this. These are for my under dash part clip that holds the bottom of my dash on. I'm sure there's a place you can find them, but I couldn't find them anywhere, so I said I'm just going to print them up myself. The orientation probably needs to change on these because they'll break the way they are. These probably also need to be set up on end. Shame because it would print so much better like that. Yeah, it'll print better like that. I'll have a better angle on the print. Stronger on some axes, some not. Try a couple angle ones just to see if they're any better. You do prints, you can kind of actually push to do a 45 like that one. one should be 45. Right. Yeah. And this I was going to cut at whatever angle that was that I cut in the thing a little bit more. Right there. That was the angle I was going to go for with that. I figured I'd give it both lateral and strength. I was pretty afraid that I wasn't going to print like that, so yeah, I'm going to print these. They'll go underneath the valve covers later on, and that should keep them from coming unhooked. Maybe? I don't know. These are all a bunch of little parts, so we'll see. Save to disk. I want to save it to desktop. New file, new folder, RAD 2 PRINT file. We want a ready to print file. That way you can just drop it straight over to the thing. Save. So we don't have to come in here and reorganize them every time. So anyhow, that's what we got. And I'm gonna go grab my 10mm, unbolt the bolts, pull it out, put this one in. It should be pretty quick and easy. Alright, new module in. Still sounds like it has a little click 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 noise to it, but I'm not gonna worry about it. We need to get down, we gotta get to our destination. Then we can get an hour down the road. Hopefully all the stuff on the truck shouldn't be slowing us down. So if we are really actually running a cylinder low, or we have an ejector that's not firing, which I can't tell right now, it's beyond my skill. So we might figure out how to do a continuity test on the engine in the future and see if we can find out which cylinder is actually doing it and pull an injector then. But I've been here way too long, and they've been kind enough to have me here and buy parts for them. Plus I spent way too much money than I should. But we got the truck where it should roll just fine. We got the ambulance where it should roll just fine. And we just need to get going. Plus there's more rain coming. So
we are dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. Search but you stay lost. We are reaching for the stars, but we're making this too hard. And I wonder where you are. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. Mysterious, that's the part you always show. 'Cause you're too curious. Maybe you should take it slow. We're dreaming in the dark. We are nothing more than dust. You search but